Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we finished more of the Stage 5 of the Lacon Majoris fight, and now we're actually on the last two missions of Stage 5.
Intelligence assets report several vulnerable cogitator stations in the area. Exact locations unknown. Tech priests predict moderate hostile presence.
So you know this is going to be a great one, because I'm starting off with this. So I saw a meme, and it was, you know, your typical Doge meme, but it's him, it's the Shiba Inu, the Doge, really fat, like morbidly obese, wearing a Captain America shirt in a movie theater with like a big gulp and some popcorn. He's like, wow, this was a great movie. A great superhero movie. I'm glad the good guy beat the bad guy for the 1,874th time. And initially, I was like, yeah, haha, superhero movies are kind of trash because they're all predictable. And I mean, they are kind of predictable. I mean, they are predictable, not kind of. They're very predictable. But at the same time, that's kind of what you sign up for. You know, you know the good guy's gonna win. It's like watching a Hallmark Christmas movie. Someone's not gonna understand Christmas or hate Christmas. Some lady's gonna show up and be like, oh, I'm this lady. Hi, Mr. Businessman who doesn't like Christmas. I'm gonna show you that Christmas is great. And then, you know, hour or 40 minutes later, the guy's gonna go, man, you're right, Christmas is great. I found the spirit of Christmas. The end. You know, it's the same story a million times. And that's how it is with superhero movies. It's the same thing over again. And I kind of realized, you know, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just kind of sucks when you look at some of the movies that just aren't that good of quality, like Eternals. You know, it could have been better. And I realized something too. I don't know how much broad appeal 40K would have in terms of shows or movies. I would like it. I assume you, the viewer, who's watching me play 40K games, would enjoy it. But I don't know how your average person would like it. I mean, what's the best way to describe 40K? It's Star Wars, but everything sucks? Everyone's just a shitter? Like, no matter how you spin it, it doesn't look good. Like, okay, here's the good guys. They're Space Marines. They're genetically modified, effectively super soldiers who aren't afraid of killing anyone who stands in their way. And their government is effectively an authoritarian theocracy centered around a man who didn't want to be viewed as a god and believed in science entirely. But after becoming nearly dead and effectively enthroned and entombed on a throne and can't really do much, this religion surrounds him. Like, okay, that's the good guys, and it's like, oh no, there's also the Imperial Guard.
Data transfer complete.
They're the army,
access.
but they all believe in human wave tactics.
Locate other cogitator stations.
And due to some degree of, you know, religious fanaticism, they're not as terrified of death, even though they're still, you know, terrified of death. And if they waver, a commissar shoots them. And it's like, okay, so that's the good guys, who are the bad guys? And then, you know, you look at all the bad guys. Oh yeah, we got the Tau, who are weeaboo space communists whose leaders use some degree of pheromones to influence everyone and effectively make them slaves. Chaos, who just, killed Bane Merm. Kill, maim, burn. You know, I like that. Kill, Bane, Merm. I mean, you got that. Orcs who are just like, I want to fight. Tyranids, just xenomorphs, but many. Like, there's a degree of appeal, because you can have some cool fights and some really interesting set pieces and stuff, but past that, it's kind of hard to sell it on people because there isn't a happy ending. It's more of a, hey, we beat evil. Does that mean we're all happy and don't have to deal with this anymore? It's, no. We just have to worry about what's coming tomorrow. This kind of inevitable march of doom. And the only question is really, how much time have you bought yourself and your kind? And I think that's always going to be kind of the downside of it, because you look at other stuff, wow, that was a Archaeotech relic that just dropped from a barrel. Boop, you've been time warped. But it's just, I think there's a degree of, I don't know, it's harsh. And I don't know how many people would really vibe with that. Because every other fantasy setting, be it science fiction, science fantasy, or just straight fantasy, there's always an upside.
Data from compromised network. Warning. Hostile
You know, there's
units
always
inbound.
hope. But 40K has reached a point of grim darkness that they just don't afford any hope. And I think that kind of hurts the franchise. But I think that's also because you're shown the big picture. You know, oh, we rescued a world from, you know, Dark Eldar raids. You know, that's good. You saved this planet of people. But then you look at the grand scheme, and it's like, well, this is one planet out of thousands, if not millions, with populations that are billions per planet. Did you really do anything? To the lives of those individuals, yes. And to that planet. But to the war, in the grand scheme, you've done little. It's a drop in the bucket. It has no effect on the orcs. It has no effect on the town. You just stop the Dark Eldar. They could show up anywhere. Those other factions could. That world could have been a Necron Tomb world, and next they're going to rise up and awaken. It's a degree of hopelessness I think it's hard to sell on people. At least for a show. Yeah, books and games, like, you can have moments of heroism. I think of Space Marine with Captain Titus fighting Nemeroth and falling through the sky, just punching him in the face repeatedly and pummeling him to death. Yeah, that's a really cool scene. But with how frequently 40K kind of shows you the grand scheme, it makes everything seem insignificant. Or maybe I'm reading too much into this. I tend to do that. Like, a lot. I read into things way too much. Honestly, probably a very annoying trait of mine. I haven't heard much about Warhammer Plus lately. I'm a little surprised. But I really don't expect to hear much for a good while. I figure probably come February, March we'll start hearing more. Because I don't know how long their little content break effectively lasts. But, I mean, it's gotta last some good amount of time, and it has to end at some point, you know. Can't just keep people not making stuff.
Loading.
You know what would have actually been a really cool thing for Warhammer Plus? But they won't do it because, you know, it's Games Workshop. Having, like, esports on there. Think about it. Let's say you have, let's say Dawn of War 2, Dawn of War 2, let's say Elite Mod. Or you actually have a Dawn of War 3, a good Dawn of War 3, so Dawn of War 4. Dawn of War 4 gets made. Or Space Marine 2. Their multiplayer, let's say they somehow create a competitive scene. Dawn of War 2 Elite Mod was actually pretty competitive. You got the faction wars and stuff. And those happen pretty frequently. Also kind of doubles as a good balance sweep, but
teams nearby. Prepare for contact.
let's say you have, let's just say Dawn of War 4. You have, you know, your little tournaments or what have you. Get somebody who's good at shoutcasting. I would put my vote in for the YouTuber Injured Casts, because Injured does a fantastic job currently with the Elite Mod stuff. But you have a commentator, you have, you know, the gameplay, and people can watch it. Oh, this was, you know, this tournament from 3 months ago. You can watch it. Oh, here's last month's tournament. Oh, we have a live cast of the tournament that'll happen, you know, in May or something. You can watch it later, but you can also watch it live. That would be an interesting use, and it would also tie into the games, so then people will want to play the games and all that, and I think would be a very interesting method. Do I think it would work 100%? No. It relies heavily on a game that is good, but I think there's something there. I'll take the Psalm code, that's what kind of really sticks out for me. Everything else is kind of meh. And the last one of Stage 5.
Your sensorium feed is up and running. Target coordinates decanted. Excuse my high gothic, but someone must be really desperate or mad to send an Inquisitor to take out field artillery units. Take care down there.
So we're definitely going to have a Stage 6 just based on the description of how Stage 5 is going. But going back to the kind of Warhammer Plus stuff, I really think kind of putting casted gameplay would help at least fill out what's on there. And it provides a little more diversity as to what's on the service. And to that degree, it also kind of artificially inflates your viewer numbers, because then people can be like, oh yeah, I got nothing to do. I'll just put on, you know, the tournament from last week and listen to that. You know, I have like 40K, I'm gonna want something related to it on, and you can just listen to that. You know, you get views, you can use that to leverage sponsors for tournaments, you know. Hey, we got all these viewers and all this. Which can in turn help support a game. I guess it would really depend on what the game is then. I think, honestly, an Eternal Crusade style game would work. Because I know they've done, like, outfits are effectively clans in PlanetSide, but they've done kind of outfit fights in tournaments through that, and you could easily do that. Wow, there's a lot of people here. Wow, oh my god, there's a lot. Okay, heal. Do that. I gotta figure out what to do here. Because I feel like there is nothing I can do. Like, this is unexpected. I'm actually just gonna keep running. I genuinely think that's my best option right now. Is to run and see if any of these other guns are less defended. I'm starting to think they aren't, but I can sure try to finagle something out of this. Actually, that wasn't a bad move either. That bought me time. No summoning. I would appreciate a couple less enemies here. Because, my god, there's a lot of enemies. I just have to keep rolling. God, there's so many! Even when I'm trying to, like, corral them together for a good hit like that, that's so rare to pull off. Okay, mines. Get distracted by the mines. And then hit all you. Heal off the damage over times. Okay, so much for trying to, like, weasel out an easy AA battery shutdown. This is... For the final fight of this segment, this is pretty good. Not gonna lie. This is arguably challenging. I feel this is a proper test of my gear and skill. It's a bit intimidating, honestly. But it looks like I finally carved out at least a corner to myself. Okay. Now we'll start pushing this way and try to weed out whoever we can ever so slowly and just work our way through. I'll have to double back because that other area is just loaded. Get me some more mines unless the supply box is bugged. A little unfortunate. Yeah, what do you think? Am I off base for the idea of essentially broadcasting esports on there? Because you could still simulcast Twitch and YouTube and all that. You just don't leave the videos up on there. Because then you could have those and really kind of pull whatever 40K game you want into some degree of the competitive sphere.
Hostile unit down. Rinse and repeat. In the name of the Emperor, of course.
Because, I mean, they already have battle reports. And those aren't bad, but I feel like battle reports they're definitely not, even for 40K fans, if you're not into the miniature game, you don't really care. Because it's hard to really sell someone on that. Meanwhile, you know, an RTS or a third-person shooter or hell, even a MOBA like Dark Nexus Arena, you know, you can sell people on that. You don't have to know everything, you can know very little, like even League, and you'll get an understanding of, oh, that guy did that thing, that's a good thing. I understand that, and want to see that happen again. And that's effectively how I've gotten people to watch competitive League before. Granted, I haven't watched League in years now. But, you know, that's how I got people to watch it, and... God, now I just remember Dark Nexus Arena. I played that, actually. For the brief time it was available. It wasn't bad, it was just League of Legends. I think that was the biggest problem. I think you could do something with that, like... Take Space Marine. I know constantly using Space Marine as the template, but I think for 40K it's the best option. You take that third-person combat, you then mix in some MOBA elements, much like, I would say, Battleborn. I know people give Battleborn a lot of flack, and it deserves a lot of flack for, like, the gear system was... I hated that gear system. I'll be fully honest, it was stupid as hell. Oh, hey, you can select what gear you can get, and you only get 3 pieces of gear, but it's randomly made loot, so you're gonna have to constantly get new boxes of gear and hope you get something that doesn't suck. Like, no. They really tried to Borderlands that game up, and it didn't work. So, you know, you don't do stuff like that, but you have the third-person combat, you have, you know, your usual minions and stuff, but you make it less of a lane combat thing and more of a battle, like a battlefield kind of thing. You know, you can have, like, a commissar character who can summon additional guardsmen who will follow him around, and it gives bonuses to them and to any other guardsmen nearby. You could do stuff like that. You could have it against Chaos, or... Actually, see, that would also lead to a problem. Do you lore accurate? So, if it's Chaos, everyone has to play a Chaos team versus what other team there is, and then they play accordingly? Or do you allow whatever? Because there's different directions you can go with that. It just depends, because I think you could do some interesting stuff with, like, oh, this is one of the top orc teams, where everybody plays orcs, and they're up against one of the best Tyranid teams. And each team... It'd be kind of like having, like, a MOBA, you know, teams. But then everybody... You'd have to have a large number of characters per faction, just so you can't instantly pigeonhole a team and be like, oh, they're this, so they're gonna be good at this, this, this. we just counter those because our team is a hard counter, we win automatically. And that's part of the advantage of a game like League, where you can, you know, someone who is a mid laner can be like, oh, I'm gonna pick, I don't know, Bran. Like, oh, I'm gonna pick Bran this time. You might be like, oh, well, I'll just pick someone who isn't as phased by zoning like he can, because he can zone the hell out of people. It's like, okay, well, to counter that next game, I'm just not gonna pick, you know, Brand. I can pick someone else. I'll pick Zed. And instead of being a distance zoner, I'm gonna be in your face constantly. And it's like, okay, well, now if I'm playing like Xerath, I'm screwed, because he can't handle in your face guys like that. So you'd have to have a good amount, and I think it's very, very doable. I just think it requires a certain kind of developer and a certain eye for such a game to be made. And you could even have, like, if you really want to go real deep, what you could do is even have your minions, quote-unquote minions, having different stat bonuses. Like, oh, you're picking orcs, so they're gonna send groups of sluggas and shooter boys. But if you pick, you know, let's say Cultist Speed, you have a chance of like an attack bike or something, or if you pick a different group, you pick, let's say, I don't even know who, like, there's so many different things you could do that would have different bonuses. Oh, you picked a Chaos group and they're Corn worshippers, so all the minions, when one of them dies, the others around them get an attack boost for a couple seconds. Suddenly, it's not, oh, I know how to fight Chaos. It's, okay, how do I fight Cornate Chaos? It could add a lot of depth, but I also think it might get a little too deep and potentially push people away. I don't know. Like every game idea, I just blurt out while I'm playing. These are literally... Everything I do right now is stream of consciousness. So you're getting just raw, random thoughts. And that's how these game ideas are. It's just me being like, hey, this could maybe work, and then me just sitting here trying to instantly shut down my own idea. Because I know that it needs to be done. Like, without any questioning of your own ideas, you kind of start doing dumb stuff. And honestly, the idea would be interesting because it blends your typical Titanfall-esque shooter kind of deal of like, oh, you have players and NPCs, and if your maps are actually interesting and not just 3-lane hellscapes like MOBAs, you could have something cool going on. But you're blending that kind of with that MOBA-y design. I think it'd be really good for an esport. I just don't know. I don't know how you do progression. Is it just go back to a base and spend effectively gold on stuff? You know, what do you do? Because Dawn of War 2 had the interesting idea of like, hey, your war gear can change effectively how you play. You know, here's a Plague Marine, he has the Bile Spewer. Or no, he has the Plague Bolter, but then you can give him a Bile Spewer, you can give him a Plague Sword, you can give him a Plague Fist, and it effectively changes how he plays. Is he going to be melee? Is he going to be targeting flimsy infantry to get zombies off them? Is he going to just be shutting guys down with, like, the Biospewer? Is he gonna just hang around making turrets and stuff and kind of play a bit passive, but be a good zoner? And that is a nice part, though, is you wouldn't even have to go as heavily into abilities as much as you have, like, a passive or two, and then just war gear options that change how you play. I like this idea. This is becoming solid. Even if I never do anything with this idea, I'm definitely going to write it down, see where I can expand it. This is cool. It has potential. And since I have an idea of how this, in theory, should go, I can probably flesh this out a bit more. I like it. Yo, can you guys, like, stop? They have over 150,000 HP. I just noticed that. That is a little intimidating, not gonna lie. I mean, this is true. This encounter has been true chaos. You guys, like, die? Please? I'll even ask you nicely. Some of them are even in good health still. Ow. You. Hey, I took down the main guy. That is all you gave me? A Crimson Void Shard, a Signum, a Bolt Pistol, and some other crap? Come on, dude. Fine, I'm taking my frustration out on the Apostle and Nurgle. See, he at least gave me an orange Signum. I was about to say Signum D's nuts. I guess it kind of works. I mean, what was the last D's nuts joke that was actually funny? I feel like it died years ago, and then some dude made a D's nuts NFT and somehow made D's nuts even worse.
You are still alive and more
There
or
is a
less in
chunk
one
of this
piece.
area I have
That's
not
a
even seen
success,
yet.
I guess. Initiating exfiltration rituals.
You know what? Since we're here, we're just gonna take out everybody. I want the XP, I want the loot. You already put me through hell here. I kinda wish I had a good melee weapon, but melee as this character sucks. And even with the time dilation field and everything, it would not save me. It was barely saving me as is.
Recoil unclean.
I think there's just a couple of guys over here, and that's everyone. I'm glad that Dreadnought or Halbert did not come out and join everybody else over here. Man, this was an encounter and a half. I gotta say, great challenge though. I'd rather fight this again than ever have to deal with a panic room with friggin' Tyranids again. Tyranids are just no fun to deal with. And time field. God, I really love this time field now. I remember seeing it before and I was like, what good is that? That's gonna be stupid. No, that's actually great. Shutting down big enemies to just wail on them. That's actually a pretty good bolt pistol. Like, that's actually stupidly useful. Because I'm a high crit build, so I'll slow guys a lot. Poison on physical skill hit, all those are physical. HP per hit, well, I'm going to be hitting a lot. Suppression blows, but the rest of it's good. And then we'll look at that next time, so we know there's a stage 6. But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.